muddy, ditch-like guts made it clear the tide was out. The collateral lead request had come in over capture, the Marshal Service's internal warrant and prisoner tracking network. Lola had called it a nothing burger, the lead, not the bad guy. From all accounts, Caldwell Vickers was 6 feet 5 inches of bearded gristle and guile, the kind of man who'd grown up seeing something he wanted and taking it. Cutter's grandfather had called such thinking right of way by tonnage and taught his grandsons to despise it. Vickers was wanted on state robbery and assault charges in both Idaho and Washington, but his federal warrant stemmed from a DEA case where he'd apparently been the muscle for a methamphetamine lab outside Yakima. The DEA had looked for him hard for a solid week after the initial raid. Then, having other cases to deal with, turned the fugitive hunt over to the Marshal Service. Eastern District of Washington deputies sent a list of possible associates to task forces and warrant squads in the respective areas, no matter how thin the connection. Shotgunning wasn't a bad tactic as far as fugitive work went. Cutter just preferred more information than travel trailer belonging to Vickers' past associate registered to property near Indian, south of Anchorage. Cutter liked to know the whole story. Lola got what she thought was most of it. The E/WA deputies holding the original warrant didn't expect to find Vickers at the property in Alaska. They believed he was holed up somewhere in the mountains of northern Idaho. The woman who owned the Alaska trailer was wanted on a state DUI charge. What the deputies hoped was that the Alaska Fugitive Task Force would find and leverage this woman into giving up information on Vickers' location. So far, that wasn't working out too well. Another bullet slithered through the brush. Cutter caught a flash of movement across the road. He snapped his fingers to get Lola's attention, then nodded toward the tree line. I want you to put a couple of rounds into that biggest spruce while I move to the other side of this slash pile. Unless I get a clear shot, Lola said. Then I'm capping his ass. No doubt, Cutter said, already walking his elbows over the brush, dragging his legs. Cover was virtually nil. Little more than blueberry bushes and willows, nothing that would stop a bullet. But concealment was good. He was able to settle into a low swale behind an overturned stump, giving himself and Lola roughly a 45-degree spread from the shooter. He gave a curt whistle to let her know he was ready, then aiming in with his M4, announced, United States Marshals, put down your weapon and come out of the trees with your hands up. Then, just in case the shooter was living under a rock and didn't know what a marshal was, Police, U.S. Marshals, drop your gun and come out now. Another shot. This one from the shadows 10 feet to the left of where he'd seen the previous flash. Were there two? Or was this the same guy? Cutter stayed aimed in, ready to press the trigger the moment he got a shooter in his reticle. He didn't have a chance. A car horn blared from farther up the mountain, barely audible at first but growing louder by the second. Cutter kept his focus on the tree line. Moments later, a rattle-can black Dodge minivan came bouncing down the gravel road, horn beeping, driver yelling. The shooter picked up his pace, alternating fire from Lola to Cutter, probing the brush. The minivan driver's head and left arm hung out the window, waving frantically as the vehicle